Sorry, we had to pause and watch the official trailer drop for The Crown.
No,
or not The
Spencer.
Crown, but Spencer. Mom wants to tell you her what is it? The Emmys grievance.
Well, I was happy to see The Crown win things. I just was disappointed that Tobias, I don't know his last name,
Menzies,
who played Prince Philip,
sounds like Menzies,
beat out Michael K. Williams, because I think Michael K. Williams deserved it even before his unfortunate passing, and I didn't think the portrayal of Prince Philip in the last couple seasons was all that. I don't know. He seemed somewhat less relevant, and I didn't think it was that good. But that's all. I wanted Michael K. Williams to win.
Do you think they just gave it to him because Prince Philip died?
I don't know. Maybe, but that seems kind of silly, but whatever. The Emmys are what they are, you know.
Anyway, okay, we're back. It's been a little bit.
That's all. Oh, my only other thing I will say is that the room in London or wherever the Brits were during the Emmys looked like it was way more fun than the American one. The American room. That's all.
Well, I think everyone in the American room...
And it was like 2 o'clock in the morning.
Well, I think everyone in the American room was like, we're all going to get COVID.
Well, I know, but they were inside in a room in England, too.
Yeah.
It seemed... I mean, maybe, I don't know. Maybe they were all vaxxed, and supposedly the Americans were too, but we'll see.
We'll see. We're back. It's been a couple weeks. We're here today to talk about Harry and Meghan were out and about today, so we're going to talk about that. We also saw the trailer for Spencer. I think it looks okay. I just can't get past... it just looks like Kristen Stewart.
Yeah. I'm having a little bit of trouble with the Kristen Stewart thing still, but the trailer looked pretty good, and I read a pretty good review of it after whatever film festival it recently played at. That seemed positive and was positive about her portrayal, so open mind. Open
Hearts, open minds. I don't know, anything I think that talks about Diana in any way, even if it's not good, is bad for the royal family, so I kind of like it. Are you agreeing with me? Okay.
Sure.
Okay, anyway, so Harry and Meghan were out today. We think this means they're officially off of parental leave. I hope so. They look good.
They do look good. They look happy.
She's in pants.
Yeah, I noticed that. Which is sort of weird and stupid because...
That you have to notice it.
Well, yeah, because why is that even a thing? I mean, American women, American professional women don't often run around in dresses. It's just not a thing. I mean...
See, I'm so far divorced from that because in my professional land, we wear scrubs.
Right. But I mean, in, say people who wear suit-ish type clothes or work in an office, I mean... It's not like people never wear dresses, but that's certainly not necessarily the norm. I mean, I think Kamala Harris probably represents the way you know most women.
She looked really good the other day. Did you see that photo of her walking out the White House? She looked really good.
Yeah, but I mean, I think pants are. It's just bizarre. It's 2021. We really shouldn't be like, oh my gosh,
she's wearing pants. It's a good outfit, though.
It is a good outfit. Is it blue or black? I thought it was black.
Oh,
but
now looking at this photo,
possibly navy as
because
his suit.
Oh, see, I was thinking that his suit looks black, and
I think in the photo that we're looking at right now,
things look blue.
Everything looks navy. Yes, but
I'm also enjoying, because I'm petty, and you know this, that she showed up to a 9/11-ish type memorial in inappropriate clothes. That's nice. Because Kate showed up in a bright pink dress and or coat dress. Have you ever worn a coat dress once in your life as a professional woman?
No, and I mean the other. I mean, I know that's also a thing, but not. I mean, not only is she wearing, and I'm talking about Meghan now, you know, a relatively standard professional woman type outfit, but I feel like people in big cities and including, and maybe especially New York, wear dark colors all the time. So
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
So
not even
especially
sure, I'm
to
not
a
even
memorial.
100% sure it's a thing, as opposed to just
She looks like a normal person.
American people don't tend to wear, American professional people out and about in professional clothing, and whether this is a good thing or a bad thing, it doesn't tend to be candy type colors.
So you wouldn't recommend wearing a hot pink short coat dress to a memorial in New York City?
It would certainly stand out, I would think.
Anyway, that was just me being petty for a second there. But what also is funny about this is they're there with the what are they calling it? The acting mayor? Or just mayor? Not mayor, because Cuomo.
No. They were there with the actual mayor of New York, Bill de Blasio,
Okay, see,
and
this
the
is why I like her.
actual governor of
He was
New
the
York,
governor.
Kathy
Okay.
Hochul.
Do they get along better than Cuomo and Blasio?
Well, they'd almost have to, but because I'm not sure you could get along much worse. But I actually don't know.
So they're there with the governor and the mayor of the biggest city in the United States.
Yes. One of the biggest states in the United States.
One of the biggest states in the United States, and people would like us to still believe that they're just completely irrelevant.
Yes.
Yeah. How does that work?
Some people.
How does that work?
I don't know. I mean, I think the whole thing was probably pretty indicative of their, I don't know what you want to call it, standing in the United States, the level of how Americans in general probably feel about them, to the extent they think about them a whole lot. But I mean, I think they're well regarded here, and the British press can certainly claim otherwise, but I think it's not true.
Well, and I hope this means they're. I mean, I hope they're not done. I mean, I think Lily's only like 4 months old. But I hope this means we get to see them more. Also because I'm petty and everyone loses their mind whenever a photographer referred to her as Madam Duchess, and the Twitter is not happy. The royal Twitter is not thrilled. It's pretty funny.
I don't even know what you're supposed to call a duchess in that situation. So
I don't know, but Madam Duchess, royal Twitter is like, oh, her ego, blah blah blah.
I'm pretty sure that didn't come from her. I'm pretty sure if someone called her Meghan, she wouldn't care.
Yes, I'm pretty sure that's true.
I mean, Harry said, call him Harry on that thing with
which thing?
that late night
Corden.
LA tour. Yeah, James Corden.
Have you watched the new Cinderella?
No.
Are you gonna watch it?
No.
Glenn, my husband won't watch it with me, but I kind of want to watch it.
I mean, I guess I would, but
because he's in that, and apparently it's real bad. But anyway, so they're out and about today. They're looking good. They got good press. They're with arguably important people. My dog wants attention. I also noticed watching some of the videos today that they had a pretty big security presence, both police and what looked like private security, which again just kind of brings up the thought of how stupid the royal family was to refuse their half-in, half-out deal and just completely cut them off. Because now they can do stuff like this, and the royal family gets, I think, what's his name? Boris Johnson, I think he was in Washington, D.C., but people on Twitter are saying he's actually back in New York City, and that would have been a good stop.
Right. Yeah, no, I think that UN thing's still going on, and so he's probably back in New York, but he was in Washington.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, the royal family could be taking, quote unquote credit for this if,
Yeah.
I mean, they could be participating in this. This could be part of the whole, what's the royal family doing? And instead it's not. It's just what are, Meghan and Harry doing? And, that was probably a bad decision on the royal family's part.
Well, it's even more like they now, I mean, okay, in certain people's heads, they are in a competition. And they've been in a competition since day one. Again, not really, but in certain people's heads. And now they get to play without rules. And certain people in the family are still very constricted by royal rules.
Well, and they get to play without rules on arguably a much bigger stage. I mean,
yes.
I'll be accused of being, some sort of elitist American, but, things that happen here are, a big deal in a lot of places. And not that things that happen in Britain are not a big deal, but it's a smaller country and a smaller audience, I think. And, here they are in certainly the I don't know if greatest is the right word, but I mean the biggest media market in the world, yes. The biggest, so
well, and I mean specifically the royal family outside of big events, weddings, funerals, births, but those tended to diminish with time too. I mean, people didn't really pay attention to Louis the way they paid attention to George, have had difficulty kind of commanding attention to their projects outside of the UK. And, royalists will get all in my mentions, be like, they don't care. But they obviously do, because if they didn't care, they wouldn't whine as much as they do.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think clearly there's American interest in big events involving the royal family, and there's interest in the royal family in general. But I mean, certainly Harry and Meghan being here and being covered by the American press, I mean, at least from what I've seen, that press is largely going to be positive, and the royal family can't influence it to be negative. So, I mean, maybe they can, I don't know. I mean, we've had, I think, indications that maybe they've, mucked with some American media companies. But, I mean, in general, I think Harry and Meghan are going to get favorable press here, and a lot of it. So if there's going to be a competition, I think it's going to be hard for the royal family to keep up, especially since, we're kind of done now with big weddings and big births and things like that for another generation. Yeah. So
all the things coming up outside of Charles's coronation, which I think is going to invoke some pretty mixed feelings. I think maybe mixed feelings is being kind. It's all sad stuff from here on out.
It's all funerals.
It's all funerals.
Next, who knows, 20 years.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I mean, even if there was to be another, birth, if, say Will and Kate had another baby,
which would be stupid.
I don't think that's gonna, I mean, like you said, I mean, the Louis and George thing, I mean, it's all, again, back to the, the spares don't get the coverage or the attention. So, it would be a thing, but, it's also a one-off. It's not an ongoing thing.
Well, I've told you about my conspiracy theories. Probably most of them. She's shaking her head.
No, I don't know which one we're talking about now.
Well, my whole thing is, after watching for like 10 years, it seems like the Queen and Charles are very much in the kind of wait and see variety of people. That when they don't know what to do, they don't really do anything. They just kind of, and I mean, it's been a bad plan. There were times that if they had even done anything, even if it had been the wrong thing, like when Princess Diana died, it would have been better than doing nothing. But they're very much the wait and see type people. But whatever seemed to have happened, back in January of 2020, I don't believe, with the respect that Harry has shown his grandmother repeatedly, even when, to be honest, I don't think she deserved it, that he would have blindsided her completely with, I'm leaving. Also, they pretty much immediately popped out something on Sussex Royal like that day, even though they were forced to because someone leaked it, with kind of an outline of what they wanted to do, which was kind of a half in, half out deal. And I also, just based on what he said, don't think he would have, blindsided the Queen with that. So my argument is there was some kind of communication going on with Buckingham Palace and the Sussexes, who were then under Buckingham Palace because they had left Kensington Palace, that they were working on a half-in, half-out deal. And someone found out about it and nuked it from orbit, demanded that he be stripped of all his military honorariums, demanded they had to give up their patronages. And my argument has always been that was Prince William. Maybe I'm just super negative, but it seems to me that the Queen and Charles have always been the wait and see. The 1 year period screams the Queen and Charles. This kind of nuclear, we're cutting you off completely, just doesn't seem like them.
Well, and that would certainly explain the kind of rift that exists, assuming one does, between William and Harry.
I thought it was the fact that he didn't even want to talk about William when he was negative towards his dad. He said, Charles isn't picking up my phone calls, blah, blah, blah. The fact that he didn't even want to, like, talk about William at all raised some eyebrows.
Well, plus it's like, who is the most threatened by whatever Harry's doing? I mean, it's not Charles. I mean, things that it's not going to be looked at nearly as much ever. I don't think that Harry was, one-upping Charles.
Yeah.
As it would be that he's trying to somehow one-up William, because they're obviously peers as far as
age. They're in the
generation and having the same sort of life events going on and that sort of thing. And I mean, I don't think that Harry's been doing anything other than living his life, but I mean, to the extent someone feels threatened by that, I think certainly William's got to be the prime suspect.
Well,
so to speak.
And I talk about this a lot in my videos, but especially for people who just started paying attention with Harry and Meghan. And of course, when Meghan hit the scene, all of a sudden, Will and Kate were sainted. But right before Harry and Meghan kind of came out as a couple, Will and Kate were not having good press. They were being called lazy. There was talks about, wastes of money. There were whispers about the supposed affair. I think it's important to note that out of the people who benefited the most from the press going after Harry and Meghan were also Will and Kate. By far. They received the best, the biggest change were those two.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, Charles got a little bump from walking her down the aisle, and he seemed to be nice and blah, blah, blah. But Will and Kate by far benefited the most from the attacks on them. Also, Dan Wooten, I don't know, doesn't matter. He was the one who leaked it. I think he works for The Sun. He was the one who leaked them leaving. He was dating someone from Kensington Palace at the time that leak happened. And people would like us just to believe that was just a coincidence.
Well, yeah. I mean, clearly the Cambridges benefit the most from negative press and from eliminating Harry and Meghan from the royal circle.
But this is what I was getting to, was it was stupid. Because when they were in the royal circle, constraints could be placed on Harry and Meghan, which they were. I mean, which they arguably were. But now that they have... I don't think anyone thought they would actually leave, so I don't think this risk was, ever really gamed out. Because I don't think they ever foresaw this as actually being an option, that they would just straight up leave. But by, again, refusing, by treating them so poorly, they weren't given any option other than to leave. And then by refusing hey, we'll continue to work for you part-time, which I would argue there's multiple kind of spares of other European royal households that work part-time for the family. There's a outline for this to work, but by saying no, they basically, out of kind of jealousy and being pissed off, kind of gave in their heads, their competition a pretty big leg up.
Yeah, they cut off their nose to spite their face.
They cut off their nose to spite their face.
I believe is what they call it.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. I I don't know. I mean, I think between the poor treatment and the constraints, I mean, I don't know, maybe they were just destined to leave eventually, because it seems like Harry maybe had kind of leanings in that regard.
Yeah.
And as an American, I would find it incredibly difficult to live under the constraints of being in the British royal family.
I'd take the money.
I don't have the, platform or the recognition or anything that Meghan does, obviously, but I just think it would be incredibly difficult. I mean, and I'm even talking about silly, things that ultimately are silly and don't really affect your life that much. But I'm sorry, I'm not curtsying to my sister-in-law or my brother-in-law or
my grandma
or walking behind people or whatever it is. I mean, to me, I get it. It's a thing, but having lived all these years somewhere where that just seems silly and ridiculous and completely unequitable and classist and everything else, I couldn't do it. I mean, it would drive me insane. And I can't imagine that other Americans wouldn't feel the same way. I mean, it just would gall me. And
I think Harry wanted to leave. I mean, I think he's been saying for a long time that he wanted to leave. But I mean, it's kind of a huge thing. I mean, they talked about how Diana's money basically like saved them because private security costs are so insane.
Right. Well, and I think because of his sense of responsibility and loyalty to his family, he sucked it up for quite a long time. And I think Meghan thought she was going to be able to do that too. And I think the fact that I think that responsibility and loyalty probably, it just shows how bad it must have been for them to to leave.
I talked about this in my video yesterday, where I think when they got married, they were told, some people say, oh, they just did the wedding because they wanted the wedding, blah, 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 even though they both said we didn't really even want this wedding. I think when they got married, it was, full steam ahead. We're going to do this because there are some upsides, right? And I think some of the negatives would have been balanced out, but they didn't even let Meghan do what she wanted to do, which was help people.
Right.
I mean, I think she went into this thinking, okay, there's going to be parts of this that suck. She had British friends straight up tell her, like, don't do this. But there's this huge upside where I can affect real change. And then she married in and was told, your brother and sister-in-law are real lazy. So you can't actually do anything good because you'll upstage them. And because he was born for it first, you can't do that. So we're going to need you to tone it down. So the upside was then taken away too. But I've always thought that the complete departure from normal royal birth plan, I've always thought they knew they were leaving before Archie was born. I think just the open attacks on her while heavily pregnant with no pushback from the family. They've done their own spin on royal things, but that was a complete departure. And I've always thought I've always thought they knew they were leaving when Archie was born, before Archie was born. That's my little. I hope he talks about it in his book
that she's writing.
Oh yeah, that she's writing. She's ghostwriting with Oprah. Yeah, her and Oprah are ghostwriting. Oh my gosh. All right, well, we're about to hit the half-an-hour mark, which means I have editing to do.
Okay.
Do we want to bet on if Spencer's going to be any good?
Well, what does that mean?
I feel like you're more positive about it than I am.
I'm more positive about it than I was when I first realized that Kristen Stewart was going to be playing Diana in a movie. But I was reminded by the trailer that we watched that the director is the director from Jackie, which was an okay movie, but I didn't love it. So that maybe...
Oh my gosh. All right.
I don't know. Well,
it comes out in November?
I'll watch it.
Oh yeah, we're going to watch it.
Yeah, it comes out in maybe October, November.
Oh, maybe Kristen could see it and she could tell us. I'm going to get the inside line on this movie.
Maybe. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, we will hopefully be back next week unless, something happens to one of us again.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks. Bye.